All right. Shalom, Israel. We're back. We're going to Deuteronomy chapter 32, King James Version. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 1. In Deuteronomy 31, we saw that Moses was, gave the leadership to Joshua and the children of Israel. What we're going to do after Moses died, that we're going to still continue to break the law, statutes, and the commandments of the Most High, and Joshua's in charge now. Deuteronomy 32, verse 1. Give ear, O ye heavens, and I will speak, and hear, O earth, the words of my mouth. My doctrine shall drop as the rain, my speech shall distill as the dew, as the small rain upon the tender herb, and as the showers upon the grass. Because I will publish the name of the Lord, ascribe ye greatness unto our God. He is the rock, his work is perfect, for all his ways are judgment, a God of truth and without iniquity. Just and right is he. They have corrupted themselves. Their spot is not the spot of his children. They are a perverse and crooked generation. Because that's like how the Most High word, the Most High law, statute, commandment is going to drop. You know, like even go back to verse 2. As the rain, so when the rain comes down upon the earth, the grass is going to grow, right? So by we continue breaking the Most High law, statute, commandment, it's not good. No, I just read it. As when the rain comes up on the grass, it's gonna grow, right? So since we are his children, once we break the law, statute, the commandment, as if we're not his children, because we break, say the perverse and crooked generation. We keep breaking his law, statute, commandment over and over again. On some hot.
Right, so this is Isaiah chapter 55.
For what verse?
2.
Oh, it's 2.
So Isaiah chapter 55, verse 10. For as the rain cometh down and the snow from heaven, and returneth not thither, but watereth the earth, and maketh it bring forth and bud, that it may give seed to the sower and bread to the eater. So shall my word be that goeth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereunto or whereto I sent it. Right? So Most High's using a similitude of how rain comes from the heavens, snow comes from the heavens to water the earth, to allow things to grow, plants plants, vegetables, flowers, what have you. You need that water. So that's the same way how the Most High's word is going out to what allow man and women and things to grow in the righteous perspective. So this is 1 Corinthians chapter 3. 1 Corinthians chapter 3 and 5. First Corinthians chapter 3, verse 5 says, "Who then is Paul, and who is Apollos, but ministers by whom ye believe, even as the Lord gave to every man? I have planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the increase. So then neither is he that planteth anything, neither he that watereth, but that God that giveth the increase. Now he that planteth and he that watereth are one, and every man shall receive his own reward according to his own labor. For we are laborers together with God. Ye are God's husbandry, ye are God's building. According to the grace of God which is given unto me as a wise master builder, I have laid the foundation, and another buildeth thereon. But let every man take heed how he buildeth thereupon." Right? So it goes into how it's the Most High's word that allows things to grow. But you have man like us, we plant the seed and we do certain things, but we're just a part of the husbandry. It's the Most High who effectively, Yahushua, that causes these things to grow. It causes a man to receive that knowledge, to see it for what it is. If it's not the Most High, you can plant, you can water, nothing's going to happen. Right? That's like if you got a plot of land and the grass is scorched, it's messed up. You can plant seeds on it, you can water it for 2 weeks, and nothing will happen. Right? Because there's something that's going to cause that to actually flourish. In this case, it's the Most High that's now causing things to grow or not to grow.
Yeah. So even back, if you go back to Deuteronomy, even Deuteronomy 28, verse 15. Because we can't, Moses, the Most I gave the knowledge to Moses that after he dies, then we're going to go keep breaking the Most High laws, statutes, and commandments, and he's going to punish us. Right, Deuteronomy 28 and 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. And you're going to see the curses. Like, curse shalt thou be in the city, and curse shalt thou be in the field. So some people might say, oh, this was written a long time ago. It happened a long time ago, but we're experiencing it right now. All these curses here. The Most High warned us. Even back in verse 1. Deuteronomy 21. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. But we end up breaking the law, statute, the commandments, and we end up living in these curses in this modern time now. And we're experiencing it on a heavy state.
20 and 15, and you jump to where?
And 28 and 1.
28 and 1.
Yeah.
All right.
Where is it? Okay. He's in Philippians 2 and 15. Verse 5.
Philippians 3 to 5.
2 and 5. 2:15. You can read that. There's a car.
It says, that ye may be blameless and harmless, the sons of God, without rebuke, in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation, among whom perverse nation, among whom ye shine as light in the world. We do shine like that in the world. We about to shine real bright, couple more faces like that on National Wide TV. We gonna be shining real bright.
When the Most High, clean us up and
Decorate us a little bit for brush the teeth.
that.
Yeah, that'll go a long way. Do you know that? That we said, that you need about a good 10, 15 more people to come out with something like that on nationwide TV, CNN, YouTube, all these nationwide TVs, all these big time ball players. Somebody else movie star, somebody gonna come out with something like that. Come on, man, enough is enough. I'm about to die anyway. You done to me now.
Yeah, they may come out and say this and say, but the thing is that it's up to the children of Israel, but we have to come back to this law, statute, and commandments.
Okay, the only thing you want to do is come out and tell the truth, though. What's in this history book right here? So there's some verses in there hurt your feelings. Oh, you didn't know that?
Yeah, the thing is that, the truth, like I said, the truth come out little spurts here and there, but it's...
Ain't no butt, brother.
No.
That's your statement. You say, I got no butt in me. If you want to make a statement, you got to keep it real. What that football player did about the American song, whatever it is, before the game, what he said, he just told the truth. He opened up a real can.
But the goal is for us as the children of Israel, we gotta come back to this law, statute, and commandment.
Okay, all right.
Because the things that it's been out there since 1969. Been preaching, teaching, preaching out there. But for us to wake up, and the Most High require us to, keep His law, statute, and commandments. That's why the Most High. That's why the Most High is gonna clean us up.
Okay,
if you read Ezekiel.
Way back here in Genesis, Exodus, the 10th commandment. He's been doing that a long time. We the ones ain't following. If we follow His word, they don't know who they've been talking about all this time.
Okay, read Ezekiel 39 and 7.
All right, listen. Here we go. 39:7?
Yeah, because the Most High has His name.
Okay.
Right?
Right. I got it. I highlighted. So I prophesied as I was commanded.
Ezekiel 39 and 7?
Okay, 37. We're going to read
39 and 7.
39 and 7. Y'all Of him too. So I will make my holy name known in the midst of my people, Israel, Mr. Jackson. And I will not let them pollute my holy name anymore. So he said we had to say. And the heathens, that white man last time, shall know that I am the Lord, the Holy One of Israel. So when my man did, he just went and said something. Now, as I just said, you need a couple more people to get on one of these big streams and just bring it on out. Just like we out there, 52nd Street, 15th, 11th Market. We out there telling the truth about what God said, what his people is.
Yeah, because the Most High's name, he's the God of Israel, right? So he don't want to continue for us to pollute his holy name, right? Because
right. That is what Mr. Jackson did. Mr. Jackson told the truth. That's what he did. One person that 39 times.
yeah.
That's what Mr. Jackson did. Is told the truth. It's like your son and my son. We want our kids to know the truth. That there ain't no white man coming down on Chile December 25th.
Okay, hold on a second.
All right, go back to back.
Right. This is in our state. We're right now like Lamentations 2:15.
Right now.
Yeah.
2:15. That's the old number.
You got it?
Old fire. Or just go crazy now. Hold on, 2 minutes. Hold on, 7 left. That's Jeremiah. And what was that called?
Lamentations 2:15.
There you go. And it says, all that pass by clap their hands at thee. They hiss and wag their heads at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth?
Keep reading.
All thy enemies have opened their mouth against thee. They hiss and garnish their teeth.
And gnash
Their teeth.
the teeth.
The teeth, they say, we have swallowed or up. Certainly, this day look for, we have found, we have seen it.
So they're seeing us in this lower state and they're like, wow. Because going in the Bible and reading, oh, Israel beat down, these nations and drive these nations out and so on and so forth. So when they see us in this lower state, it's like, wow. You guys are Israel. We look for this. You guys know more as a nation. Just like, niggers out there and Hispanics and Native American. I see you don't have anything.
Yeah, you're right about that.
You don't have any land, government, military.
Football team.
Yeah, so they look at it.
Watch the Redskins doing
so they
try to get rid of that symbol, that helmet.
But even they do that. But as us as a nation, they see us in this lower state.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah. So even when you read Psalms 83.
Oh yeah, that's most definitely good. That's what they're gonna be doing well.
Because we as a nation, we don't have the power, to go and beat them down right now. Because it's not the time. Right? Hold on.
What are these linking up with? What verse?
5. Or we still on 2. Or we on verse 5.
Verse 5.
Okay. Psalm 83, yeah, that one's going to always be strong. Let's come off from being a nation that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
Yeah, let me. Verse 6. Deuteronomy 32, verse 6. Do ye thus requite the Lord, O foolish people and unwise? Is not he thy father that had brought thee? Had he not made thee and established thee? Verse 7. Remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee thy elders, and they will tell thee. When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. So where the nations are, he separated the nations and separate the children of Israel from the other nation. Right? Verse 9. For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. Right? So, Israel is the Most High chosen people. Verse 10. He found him in a desert land and in the waste, howling wilderness. He led him about, he instructed him, he kept him as the apple of his eye. Right? So, because we are his chosen people. Because even when you go through history, go back in history, you find out where Israel is, as opposed to the other nations. Where is Israel? Going here, there, and different captivities. It centers around us. Right? Verse 11. As an eagle stirred up her nest, fluttered over her young, spread abroad her wings, taketh them, beareth them on her wings. All right. Verse 12, so the Lord alone did lead him, and there was no strange God with him. So the Most High, led Israel. Verse 13, he made him ride on the high places of the earth, that he might eat the increase of the fields, and he made him to suck honey out of the rock, and oil out of the flinty rock. It's a butter of kine and milk of sheep, with fat of lambs and rams, of the breed of Bashan, and goat, with the fat of kidneys, of wheat, and thou didst drink the pure blood of the grape. So, the Most High delivered us from Egypt, and protect us.
And you see, production was done in places where, in a place where you would not expect things to be done. Things were out of the rock, you got honey, and when you look look at the milk production was great, right? And where you wouldn't expect to have that, but everything was working according to how the Most High wants. In places when you wouldn't expect you to live that way, right? Which means the Most High controls everything from wherever you might be. Region is not. I mean, the Most High's power is not bound by region or area where you are, or condition where you are. The Most High is in control of all. That's pretty much what this verse from 12 is reading. That's what it's pretty much bringing up.
He gave us water to drink. He gave us food.
Light. Cloud.
Yeah, and guidance. Verse 15. But Jeshurun waxed fat and kicked. Thou art waxen fat. Thou art grown thick. Thou art covered with fatness. Then he forsook God which made him, and lightly esteemed the rock of his salvation. So we're taking the Most High for granted. Because the Most High is blessing us with these things, and start to esteem, lightly everything. Verse 16, they provoked him to jealousy with strange gods, with abomination provoked they him to anger. So when you read Exodus 20, verse 16, Exodus.
You had 16, right?
Yeah.
Exodus?
Yeah. Exodus 20 and 3. Exodus 20 and 3 says, Thou shalt have no other gods before me. It's strange gods. And the Most High is a jealous. It's a jealous God. Not to God. To God feared not. Verse 18, of the rock that begat thee, thou art unmindful, and hast forgotten God that formed thee. So we start to take the Most High for granted, serve other gods. When we came out of Egypt, saying that we're going to die of thirst, etc. Verse 19, and when the Lord saw it, he abhorred them because of the provoking of his sons and of his daughters. Verse 20, and he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be. For they are a very forward generation, children in whom is no faith. So we see the Most High, plagued the Egyptians, 10 plagues, and then, and delivered us out of Egypt, out of the iron furnace. And then we take the Most High for granted. As if the Most High is gonna just have us out there and we have to just fend for ourselves. He gave us water, gave us food. He gave us everything. Verse 21, they have moved me to jealousy with that which is no God. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities, and I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. So, verse 21. So Romans 10 and 19, verse 21. Romans 10 and 19. But I say, did not Israel know? First Moses said, I will provoke you to jealousy by them that are no people, and by a foolish nation I will anger you. So when all these curses coming upon us, and we see this other nation, right now we're seeing Esau having all this the land, the government, the military, and they just like foolish. They be spending money and wasting money and having all these things, what they have, and we like, wow, we wish that we had all these things.
Sure thing.
Because we all need things in the necessity of life, Like Ecclesiasticus 29 and 21. You can read that, Zakar.
Okay, 29 what?
Ecclesiasticus 29, verse 21. You got it? Ecclesiasticus 29, 21.
21. It says, the chief thing for life is water and bread and clothing and a house to cover shame.
So even yesterday at my job, this man is working, and he said, oh, they're taking so much money out of his check. And he says, he's not gonna have much, left in his check and he was getting angry and he was crying and he was banging his head against the door at the job, and they told him, look, you gotta leave. And they just escorted him out of the building because he was crying, and he said, I'm not gonna be able to eat. And we want clean water to drink, bake, cook. We want food, right? Clothing, and a house to cover shame. Is like a lot of us out there are homeless, hungry, don't have clean water to drink, and things like that. And we need these things, and we see these other nations, especially like Esau, having all these things, and they're buying these $1 million mansions and having all this wealth, and we're like, We out there hungry, thirsty, naked, and don't have any place to stay. Pourquoi?
That's the lowest place that you can ever imagine yourself to be as an individual, especially of Israel, because these things we shouldn't even have to worry about these things. We get so low to the point where these things become a concern, right? And we read in Matthew 6:28. Right? Matthew 6:28 tells you, you see how the flowers, they clothe, they looking nice, they don't do any work. See how the birds, they eat, right? What about you? You more important in these things. But what happened is we so far removed from the Most High, now these things become a concern for us. But what we got to do is seek the kingdom first, and then all these things shall be added. This shouldn't be something that we're really concerned with. Food, clothing, where we stay. This is automatic. Those are automatic things that we should have as we were to keep the Most High's commandments, follow the law, as children of the kingdom. How can you imagine children of the kingdom, heirs of the kingdom, not be seeking food?
Eating as a garbage can.
Right.
And even the news, you hear them say, oh, the black and Hispanics, and even the news they say, oh, the stop and frisk, targeting the black and Hispanics, the eviction rate, the foreclosure rate, the unemployment, the black and Hispanics. And they see in the news, and we see, and diseases are health affecting the black and Hispanics. You see it all the time in the news. And it's people hold on to their apartment, their room, their house, just barely holding on to it. Eviction rate, the foreclosure rate is so high. Unemployment.
Just imagine, right? You in the kingdom, you the son of the king, you have problem finding food. It just doesn't make sense. But that's where we are.
This is Romans, the 11th chapter and 11th verse. I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid. But rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles for to provoke them to jealousy, right? We just read the Most High is going to put a foolish nation over us to provoke us to jealousy. Now, it said, have they stumbled that they should fall? Meaning, stumbled along the way via sin, that they should fall out of the Most High's grace, that they should fall not being able to receive the kingdom. Now, by that fall and them stumbling, salvation is now being given to the Gentiles, to the nations, right? When Paul wrote this, it was the Romans that was ruling. Prior to that, it was the Greeks that was ruling. Then you get into the different kingdoms of Esau that has been ruling ever since, right? So it says he did this to provoke us to jealousy, right? He said that when we're reading back in Deuteronomy 31 now. So when we look at it, it's much more than just saying, I just need food and commodities. It's much more than that, because even in the establishing of this country, they said, you 3/5 of a man. Hold on, how you a man and I'm not even a whole man? That don't even make sense. I'm 3/5 of a man. What 2/5 of me is not taken out? What 2/5 that you got that I don't have? Explain that to me, right? Yeah. So now they go about and establishing certain rules of code that says you can't drink here, you can't shop here, you can't eat here. You're like, hold on. And then you are now being told where you can go and where you can't go. Right? And then you say, okay, I want to establish my own. You don't want me to assimilate with you. I'm going to go and do my own. And then you go and you do your own and they destroy it. They destroy it. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, but 5 times they destroyed it. I think it's 6. The Edomite woman brought out that Central Park was a thriving black-owned section, and so they destroyed that, and now it's a park. You remember that history. So every time you want to establish yourself, they say, no, you can't. But we can, right? So then it's like, hold on, that's not right. You get jealous. You get mad. You get angry, right? That's the same way how the Most High felt, that we gave him up to go follow all these other guys. So what? The Most High got angry. He says, I'm going to do something to now get my frustrations out on you. So now while we are in this condition, how do we act? We jealous, we mad, we frustrated, right? We upset, we're ready to act out. But this all stems from us transgressing or moving away from the Most High. So the Lord now has put the nation, specifically Esau, above us to make us jealous, right? The scripture is very prophetic because the Lord said he was going to do that to the nation of Israel, right? So now the nation of Israel is now feeling the brunt of what this foolish nation is doing to so-called black and brown people, right? They're not specifically doing it to Moabites and Ammonites and Ishmaelites. They're doing it to us. They're saying, you don't live here. Get out of here. You're like, hold on. You don't belong here. You get out of here. How you came here when somebody was already living here? And then you raped, robbed, and took the land, and now saying they don't belong here, but we got it. Right? That's why I told them in the class last night, I see the Edomite way running the world since 1776. Right? Because that's their mind. And this is now our world. We've been running the world. That's how Esau thinks. But we know when we read the Apocrypha, the Most High said the world was made for our sakes. Right? Let me read this in 2nd Ezra. Let me get into how the Most High goes into making us jealous. 2nd Ezra.
Hey, get the one that you said earlier before.
Second Address, the 3rd chapter.
Third.
Second Address, chapter 3, verse, I'm going to start at 26. Second Address, chapter 3, verse 26. It says, and in all things did even as Adam and all his generations had done. But they also had a wicked heart, as so thou gavest thy city over into the hands of thine enemies, right? So when the seed of Adam transgressed, the Most High now, specifically talking about Israel, the Lord gave the city of Adam, or his holy city, even Israel, over to the enemies. Now check out what he says, verse 28. Are their deeds there any better than that inhabit Babylon, that they should therefore have the dominion over Zion? For when I came thither and had seen impieties without number, then my soul saw many evildoers in this 30th year, so that my heart fails me. For I have seen how thou sufferest them sinning, and hast spared wicked doers, and has destroyed thy people, and has preserved thine enemies, and has not signified it. So Ezra is looking at it and saying, hold on, I'm looking at these Babylonians, and I'm seeing them, they do wickedness without impiety. They don't have no care. They just go out there and just destroy, kill, they wild out. But Most High, you don't judge them like you judge us. Right? Why do they get to flourish and thrive, but we get killed all the day long? That's where the jealousy comes in. That's what Ezra was feeling. Are they better than us? We were supposed to be your chosen. How you showing favor to them, Most High? They don't know you like we know you. Reading on, verse 31. I do not remember how this way may be left. Are they then of Babylon better than they of Sion? Or is there any other people that know of thee beside Israel? Or what generation have so believed thy covenants as Jacob? And yet their reward appeareth not, and their labor hath no fruit. For I have gone here and there through the heathen, and I see that they flow in wealth, and think not upon thy commandments. Weigh thou therefore our wickedness now in the balance, and there's also that dwell in the world. And so shall thy name nowhere be found but in Israel. Or when was it that they which dwell upon the earth have not sinned in thy sight? Or what people have so kept thy commandments? Thou shalt find that Israel by name hath kept thy precepts, but not the heathen. So this is where the jealousy was coming in. This is where it's rooted. It's like, yo, how these people over us, but they worse than us? But they shown favor and we're not. So that's where we get jealous. Even on a carnal level. Ezra saw the same thing. Paul is now bringing out the same prophecy concerning the same thing.
That's the second Ezra.
Second Ezra 3:26, and I read to 36. And I'm going to read Second Ezra 6. And 55. Second Ezra chapter 6, verse 55.
Second Ezra.
Chapter 6, verse 55. It says, all this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes. We just read that in Romans 11:11, that the salvation has been given to the Gentiles, right? But the Most High had always wanted the world to be made for our sakes. It says, verse 56, as for the other people, which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, and has likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. Remember, the Most High just said, I'm going to put a no people over you. A no people. They ain't nothing. They ain't got nothing with them, right? It says, and now, O Lord, behold, these heathen have ever been reputed as nothing, or which have never ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be lords over us and to devour us, to kill us, to slay us, to rape us. These people, that's no people. They ain't nothing. They're not better than us. They don't know you like they know us, that we know you. How are they lords over us? Verse 58, but we, thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, Exodus 4:22, right?
Exodus.
That called thy firstborn, thy only begotten, and thy fervent lover are given into the hands, or given into their hands. If the world now be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure? So if we read the scriptures and we say, look, we are the real chosen of the Most High, but these people is rolling over us. They treating us bad. They doing this and they doing that. How long should this be? How can we be the kings and queens, but we like peasants in the earth, right?
You
so
see,
that's where
you said Exodus what?
4:22. 4:22. So how is this now the dynamics? We know that we're better, but we're in the lowest state. So that's where that prophecy comes to pass, as the Most High now has made us jealous by putting another people over us. So it goes more than just having, being able to get water and food. It's a whole mental thing on how they treat you.
Yeah.
Right? What they do to you.
Let's see the Exodus.
Say Exodus 4:22, and thou shalt say to Pharaoh, thus saith the Lord, Israel is my son, even my firstborn.
Right? You don't see that?
Yeah, I see that. Okay.
Hey, what that verse you said, there ain't nothing to us.
It's ready.
Oh, all right, okay. I think you're gonna say that word, that statement, like
6:55.
Yeah. They're nothing.
they ain't nothing to us.
Right. It's that I read it. That has ever said that they are nothing, but be like unto a drop that falleth from a bucket, like spit.
And
That
they're
was
ruling.
from 2 Ezra 6.
2 Ezra 6, I read from 55.
Okay, yeah, you read this before. 10/26, 2015. My where boy you get all this from? Like this book.
You read from 55
I read
to
from
5.
You read, well, the back you read from 54, or 53 all the way down.
You read from 55 to where? What is the end?
59.
First Peter 4. First Peter 4:17.
Peter's. First Peter's.
First Peter 4 and verse 17. When you consider the Most High dealing with us as His chosen, right? We have His law, we carry out His name. So we should know better. Right? We carry out His name. We represent him on earth. So it makes sense that our punishment will seem harsher than how the other nations are punished, because they don't have our law the way the Most High give us the law. Right? So they wouldn't even know how to treat us to begin with, because they don't know. The only way they're gonna treat us is wickedly, because they don't know the Most High's righteousness, as we were given the word of the Most High to rule this planet. And we lost it because of our wickedness. This is in 1 Peter 4 and verse 17. For the time is come that judgment must begin at the house of God, and if it first begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of the Most High? And then in verse 18 it says, and if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? Because the sinner and the ungodly, they're gonna vanish, because if we will go through what we're going through, right, and we're supposed to be the one that is of the kingdom, and the Most High chosen us, where would they be? Because they have done so much wickedness. But our punishment will seem harsh because we were given the laws of the Most High. It's like, it's a big thing where you represent somebody. Everything that you do reflects back on that person. It's like you move right, it's him that they point out. It's like you have a parent, when you do something, it reflects back on your parent at home. Isn't that so-and-so's kid? Oh my God, like father, like son. Right? Like father, like son. Like if your dad did wickedly, sometimes it goes back to you as a son and says, oh, don't you know she or he is so-and-so's son? Oh, well, you could not get any better than that. Right? So that's why our punishment will seem harsher. And we could not expect anything other than that from wicked nations who did not have our law, statute, and commandment. I wouldn't expect. That's why it says the righteous shall scarcely be saved, because we are being punished by people who are unlawful, right? Who are not keeping the laws of the Most High. If it wasn't for the Most High, we would have been out of here. But because the Most High made sure that we are punished for what we did, then He's gonna reverse it, right? He's gonna reverse it. So mentally, psychologically, if we still have our head, we have the Most High to think, because we could have been just like walking around like zombies, not know where to go, because that's what we should expect from the other nation. That's how we should expect them to treat us. We shouldn't expect them to treat us any better than what they're doing now.
Verse 22, Deuteronomy 32, verse 22. For a fire is kindled in mine anger, and shall burn unto the lowest hell, and shall consume the earth with her increase, and set on fire the foundations of the mountains. Verse 23, I will heap mischief upon them. I will spend mine arrows upon them. It's curses. Verse 24, they shall be burnt with hunger and devoured with burning heat and with bitter destruction. I will also send the teeth of beasts upon them, with the poison of serpents of the dust. Verse 25, the sword without and terror within shall destroy both the young man and the virgin, the suckling also with the man of gray hairs. So if you read the curses, it's affect, all of us. As a nation, one or two might have this and that and so on and so forth, but it's still affecting them also. Because as a nation, when you read Psalms, Psalms 86 and 1. It's a prayer of David, bow down thine ear, O Lord. Hear me, for I am poor and needy. Because as a nation, we are poor and needy. You know, need of all things, need of want of all things.
That was Psalm
86:1.
86 and 1. Yeah, one or two might have something, but as a nation, we are poor and needy. Right? Verse Deuteronomy 32, verse 26. I said I would scatter them into corners. I would make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. Right? Captivity after captivities, right? Verse 27. Were it not that I feared the wrath of the enemy, lest their adversaries should behave themselves strangely, and lest they should say, our hand is high, and the Lord had not done all this. Right? Verse 28. For they are a nation void of counsel, neither is there any understanding in them. Verse 29. Oh, that they were wise, that they understood this, that they would consider their latter end. Verse 30. How should one chase 1,000 and two put 10,000 to flight, except their rock had sold them and the Lord had shut them up?
So that was 30.
Yes, yeah, 30. So when these nations get above us and we're provoked by this foolish nation and how they're treating us. Verse 31, for their rock is not as our rock, even our enemies themselves being judges. Go on, Tama.
Back in verse 30, when it says, how should one chase 1,000 and two put 10,000 to flight, except their rock sold them and the Lord had shut them up, right? So that's the answer of how and why we went into slavery. Because we know we are a more mightier nation than any other nation. When it comes to us, some people look at China because they got all these million people or a billion people, whatever. But Moab is not as mighty as the full nation of Israel. Because when you look at Israel, we are a company of nations. You got Ephraim, you got Simeon, you got Manasseh, you got Benjamin, you got Judah, you got Naphtali, so you have all of us collectively that makes up one nation. Now imagine if that whole nation of people came together with one thing in mind. There's nothing that can take us down, especially when we're in our righteousness. But now it says the Lord was going to put let one chase 1,000 and two chase 10,000. So now the one once mighty great people is now being diminished to a people that's running and fleeing from their enemies, which that was not the case when we had the Most High Yahushua with us. So in the curses that we read in Deuteronomy 28 and 25, Deuteronomy 28:25, it says, the Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. That's what we just read as far as scattering us in corners. So you go out one way to think that you're going to be able to stand up and fight, but then you flee 7 ways. Everybody scatters from a high level to a carnal level. But we see when they come in our neighborhoods and brothers out there got guns and they're quick to kill each other, but let the police come through, one car come through, they all breaking and running and scattering like roaches, right? The Most High said he will put that fear in our spirit of our enemies because we disobeyed him, right? Flee 7 ways. 1, chase 1,000. 2, chase 10,000, right? That has what we've been left to be as the greatest people on the planet Earth. Look how we act.
Judges chapter 2 and 14. I'll read that real fast. Judges chapter 2 and verse 14. And it reads, and the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel, and he delivered them into the hands of the spoilers that spoiled them, and he sold them into the hands of their enemies round about, so that they could not any longer stand before their enemies. So the key is here is to make sure that when the Most High put us against the wall, it's not to look at the enemy as the enemy that is put in front of us as the subject, right? The cause is what we got to always go back to and fix back to the Most High, because that's what the Most High is trying to do. Get us to be jealous, turn back to him, right? Sometimes we may make the mistake, keep focusing on the enemy in front of us. We forget that we got to turn back to the Most High. We got to go back to the Most High. That's why the enemy is right here. Once we turn back to the Most High, then we gain back the knowledge of the Most High and start keeping back the commandment. Then the enemy become weak, right? We don't need to fight the enemy hands in hand for the enemy to become weak. We need to go back to the Most High. Then the enemy becomes weak. But sometimes we spend so much time focused on the enemy in front of us, complaining about the enemy, rather than going back to the Most High, who's the cause, right? We are the cause of breaking this law, and then we are putting him to captivity. Go back to him, start keeping the law, statutes, and commandments.
Yeah, like even what it says in Isaiah 42:24. Yeah. Yeah, read that for me.
No, 42 what?
Isaiah 42:24.
Okay.
You got it? Read it?
Yeah, I got it.
Isaiah
42,
42:24.
24. Okay. Who gave Jacob for a spoil and who gave Jacob for a spoil and Israel to the robbers? Did not the Lord he against whom we have sinned? For they would not walk in his ways, neither were their obedience unto his law.
Yeah, so that's it.
That's a good link up to Judges. We always got to go back to the Most High.
Yeah, because even verse 31 here, for their rock is not as our rock, even our enemies themselves being judges, because they're judging us. All right? Verse 32. Verse 32, for their vine is the vine of Sodom and of the fields of Gomorrah. Their grapes are grapes of gall. Their clusters are bitter. So, as you know, we're the righteous nation. Like I said, the righteous is more excellent on his neighbor, the way of the wicked seduce him. Right? So, their way is not our way. You know? Verse 33, their wine is the poison of dragons and the cruel venom of asp. So, you know, when they see their ways and all the vile stuff that they doing and so on and so forth, and we're like, you know, that's not the way to go. But some of our people here in the news are doing what they do and are being exposed. You know, so that this stuff that, you know, is not the stuff that we do or we supposed to be doing. You know, verse 34: Is not this laid up in store with me and sealed up among my treasures? Verse 35: To me belong vengeance and recompense; their foot shall slide in due time, for the day of their calamity is at hand.
Let me read Psalm 94 in 1 for verse 35.
30.
Psalm 94 and 1 for verse 35.
Psalms
94 verse 1.
That goes to what, 34?
35.
35. Psalm 94, 1.
Right, it says, O Lord God, to whom vengeance belongeth. Right? If the other nation does something to us, the Most High will make sure that they pay. He's the judge. He's gonna give them their sentence. Right? They're gonna get their sentence. That goes without saying. Because we cannot expect the wicked to change overnight. Expect them to treat us better. Right laws that's gonna benefit us. Right? They ain't gonna have right laws that benefit us. And then we can march, we can cry, we can do all that we can do, or why they treating us that way. Ain't nothing gonna change. Right? Ain't nothing gonna change. We cannot expect the crook to be straight.
Yeah, because you know we are there marching and certain things, certain statues come down, certain little amendments to kind of, but the whole system,
Right.
The whole system is against us because, you know,
Right.
when they go into their judicial system, it's against us.
Right. That's why we gotta be careful sometimes how deep we go into Esau, wanting Esau to change. Who cannot change? It's not gonna change. You know, they may change this law here, change the chokehold there, change this. Ain't nothing gonna change. As a matter of fact, they will change something and mess up 10 down the line for you, make it even worse. Right? It says, "Oh Lord God, to whom vengeance belongeth." The Most High will make sure that they pay. That's the righteous judgment that we're seeking for. It says, "Oh God, to whom vengeance belongeth, show thyself." Right? Show thyself. We're not gonna get any change.
Yeah, and the whole system is rigged against us.
Right.
You go into the whole, because first of all, even to their prison system, it's full, and it's meant to keep it full.
Right.
And the whole system and the fines and everything is just
They don't know how to
this
change.
against us.
They don't know how to do right. I mean, how do we expect them to do right? They don't know how to do right. So it's always going to be jacked up. Right? But I mean, sometimes we do want to, psychologically, we want things to be better, right? Because we see it right in front of our eyes. But until the kingdom, and the Most High give us grace to not have to go through certain things, that's how it's going to be, or even worse.
You look into their judicial system for justice.
Right.
You know, God's month.
Looking at their judicial system, the economic system, the
Yeah.
educational system, the religious system, the whole system is built in order for them to rule. That's it, right? The whole system is built around them ruling and mainly keeping us from who we are, keeping us in darkness, keeping us happy about it. So the system is not going to change to allow you to rise up so that you can be equal with them. That's why, I mean, it's common sense what the people, what the brothers was trying to, well, not the brothers, but what the movement was trying to say, Black Lives Matter. It's common sense to say, yo, we know all lives matter, but we say we don't matter to y'all. Y'all don't put us in the same pedestal as everybody else. We got a voice too. We want to be equal with y'all. No, all lives matter. And you look like, yo, how stupid can you be? It's not that they stupid. They understand what you're saying. They just don't want you to be up on that level. They clearly understand what it means. They just don't want it to mean what it means. Because if that means what it means, it's just the same thing as the brother put out in his tweet. They now realize that they have kept the real children of Israel in the dark all this time. We're allowing them to rise up. We can't do that. If we do that, then we are going to fall. Or we will fall. So we got to keep them where they're supposed to be, which is beneath us. We don't want them to have a voice. We don't want them to establish themselves as everybody else. We don't want that. No. Right? You don't belong here. Get out. You mean I'm just walking on the block. Get out. Right? We want to keep them and make them as the villains in the earth. Whereas we, talking about Esau, technically, realistically, observatively, are the biggest villains to ever walk the planet Earth.
Yeah.
The biggest villain that ever walked the planet Earth, but they're making us to be that people.
I see even a couple of white people make these black masks. You know, these black masks that they put on their face, and from a distance they say, "Oh, it's a black man." I think about Dave Chappelle said, "Oh, black male from like 4'7" to 6'5" or something, 6'6", you know. So it could be anybody, any black male. So they come and grab you up and say, "Oh, it's you." I saw they had this older couple. I think he's 80 and she's 60, and they plague with diabetes and all that stuff and can't walk. And they say, "Oh, they look like bank robbers." You know, it's like, it's the whole system is rigged against us. You got something to say? Okay, verse 36. For the Lord shall judge his people and repent himself for his servants when he seeth that their power is gone and there is none shut up or left. So the Most High is gonna judge us. You know, because it said, like with Amos, it said, "You only have I known, therefore I punish for all your iniquities." All right, verse 37. And he shall say, Zakar, you got 37?
37.
And he shall say, where are their gods, their rock in whom they trusted? So we run into this other nation and their gods and figured they would, you know, save us. But we forsaken the you know, our true God, the God of Israel, which did eat the fat of their sacrifices and drank the wine of their drink offerings. Let them rise up and help you and be your protection. To see these false gods out there as if they're gonna protect us. You know? Like, see, for, you know, because you're forsaken the true one and true God, the God of Israel. Verse 39, see now that I, even I am he, and there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. Verse 40, for I lift up my hand to heaven and say, I live forever. So he's the God of Israel, the God of all flesh. Right? He's the one and true God. And nobody can stop him because he's a true living God. Verse 41, if I wet my glittering sword and mine hand take hold on judgment. I will render vengeance to mine enemies and will reward them that hate me.
In verse 38. Judges 10 and verse 14.
Verse 38.
Judges 10 and verse 14. And that's what we used to do when our back against the wall, right? And we see what was happening, then we turn back to the Most High. We don't run back to Esau to tell him to change the law. Right? It says, Judges 10, verse 14. It says, go and cry unto the gods which ye have chosen. Let them deliver you in the time of your tribulation. Verse 15. And the children of Israel said unto the Lord, we have sinned. Do thou unto us whatever seemeth good unto thee. Deliver us only, we pray this day. So when we are back against the wall, we turn back to the Most High because we know the only reason we would be in that situation and we can only be delivered by Him is, the Most High. God. And they said they turned back and served the Lord. And his soul was grieved for the misery of Israel. So it's not like the Most High did this to us like I would say deliberately, but us turning our back against the Most High, go do our own way, we have no protection. We have no protection. So we out there in the hand of wicked. In the wicked, we can expect anything than wickedness. So we have no protection, and we out there in the cold. So when we get back to the Most High, then we get our protection. We did it to ourselves. Right? But the Most High's law, when it says the Most High did it, is because the Most High's law already established beforehand. If we don't follow, that's what judgment will befall us. It's not like the Most High go with his hand and keep doing all this thing to us, just deliberate. The law is established, you do this, then here's what's gonna happen if you do that. This is the sentence you're gonna get. Just like somebody go and rob a bank, they already say if you rob the bank, you take this amount of money, the law already have 5 to 10 or 5 to 25. It's already there in the law. That's the punishment you're gonna get. It's not like the judge is reinventing and putting something else there. It's already there what sentence you're gonna get if you rob a bank. If you kill somebody, you're gonna get the death penalty. It's already set up in the law. It's not like the judges did it, but the judge gave the sentence that's already established. That's how the Most High works. The law is already set. You mess up is what you're gonna get. But if you do right by the law, is what you're gonna get.
Verse 42. I will make mine arrows drunk with blood, and my sword shall devour flesh, and that with the blood of the slain and of the captives, from the beginning of revenges upon the enemy. So eventually, the Most High is gonna punish the other nations. What they have done, besides earlier provoke us to jealousy, but what they are doing to us now, and what they have done to us in the past too. The Most High is gonna remember all of that.
Right. And in that same book of law, the judgment, what's gonna happen, the sentence is already written. Right? It's not like the Most High gonna make some new rules for the punishment. It's already written. We've been reading what's gonna happen. Fire is gonna happen, thermonuclear. The sentence is already here in the book. Right. And we're reading it. And the Most High, even before we went into captivity, he told us what the sentence is gonna be before we went into captivity. Right? The Most High had already set the end from the beginning. Right? So what we call our end, our beginning, it's the Most High already ahead waiting for us to just play it out.
So even verse 42, because it's saying the Most High is punishing us, for this, for breaking his laws, that is the commandments and serving other gods and everything. But even with Esau and the other nations, like Revelation 18:5, it says, for her sins have reached unto heaven. So Esau is doing all kind of foolish, provoke us to a foolish nation and everything. And Esau doing all that stuff, and he's getting away. It's like, how come he's getting away? But come to a point that this isn't going to reach up to heaven. The Most High just going to cut them down. Verse 43, rejoice, O ye nations, with his people, for he will avenge the blood of his servants, and will render vengeance to his adversaries, and will be merciful unto his land and to his people. So even verse 43, this is Isaiah 14:1. You can read that, Zakar.
It says, the with me?
Yeah.
Okay, Shema. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob.
So the Most High will have, that's it. And the Most High will have, merciful unto his land and to his people, which, Israel is the glory of all lands, and to his people, going to put us back into our homeland. Verse 44, and Moses came and spake all the words of this song in the ears of the people. He and, what's that? Hoshea, what's that? Hoshea, the son of Nun. Yeah, Joshua, the son of Nun. Because he made this whole thing here is a song.
Yeah.
Because I'm saying with this song, I'm reading is like the whole thing here.
Yeah, that was the song that Moses. That's the song.
Verse 45, and Moses made an end of speaking all these words to all Israel. 46, and he said unto them, set your hearts unto all the words which I testify among you this day, which ye shall command your children to observe to do all the words of this law, for it is not a vain thing for you, because it is your life. And through this thing ye shall prolong your days in the land whither ye go over Jordan to possess it. Yeah, I could do. This will be our land.
So it's a permanent law. It's the law of the Most High. It is neither archaic or new. It is not new or archaic. It is just the law. It's the truth. It stand the test of time.
Yeah.
So it's neither old nor new. It is the law forever.
Yeah, and that's our land. Strangers are there right now, and they're polluting it. Right? Verse 48, and the Lord spake unto Moses that self-same day, saying, get thee up into this mountain, Abarim, unto Mount Nebo, which is in the land of Moab, that is over against Jericho, and behold, the land of Canaan, which I give unto the children of Israel for possession, and die in the mount whither thou goest up, and be gathered unto thy people, as Aaron thy brother died in Mount Hor, and was gathered unto his people. Because ye trespassed against me among the children of Israel at the water of Meribah Kadesh in the wilderness of Zin, because he sanctified me not in the midst of the children of Israel. Yet thou shalt see the land before thee, thou shalt not go thither unto the land which I gave the children of Israel. So in Numbers, verse 51, right? Numbers 20. Yeah, Numbers 20. Verse 10 to 11. Zakar, read it for me, please.
Numbers 20:10. And Moses and Aaron gathered the congregation together before the rock. He said to them, Hear now, you rebels, must we fetch you water out of this rock? And Moses lifted up his hand, and when it said dry, he smote the rock twice, and the water came out abundantly. And the congregation drank, and their beasts also. And the Lord spake to Moses and Aaron, because ye believe me not to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore ye shall not bring this congregation to the land which I have given them.
Okay, that's it.
Because he must hit the rock once, but he hit it twice, right?
Talk to the rock.
Oh, talk to the rock. That's real bad. They go speaking to the rock before their eyes, and to give forth his water.
Speak, right?
Yeah, speak. I got to highlight it too. Speak. But he hit it twice. I guess he was mad and upset.
Right.
But he had a lot of people with him.
That's what happens.
Amen.
With emotion, you gotta control that.
Yeah.
Because these people, they will work you out.
Yeah, wear you out.
Right. So you can't let the people's emotion get you. You gotta listen to the Most High.
And then we made what? 10, 11, 12.
All right, so that concludes Deuteronomy chapter 32. And next Sabbath reading what's the next Sabbath reading? Old Testament. Old Testament, New Testament, Apocrypha?
Right, but this was supposed to be New Testament.
Oh.
Next week is in the Old Testament, which should be Ecclesiastes, right? Who do I go to?
I think I'm okay.
Who's the last one to read it? Prologue.
I think I did.
Yeah, he did that.
What did you read the prologue and
Yeah.
the first chapter?
Yeah.
Read the first chapter of Ecclesiastes?
He read the prologue.
This prologue, so it's Ecclesiastes 1 and 2.
Oh, okay. Ecclesiasticus 1 and 2. So that's the next Sabbath reading, Ecclesiasticus 1 and 2. Stay tuned for the closing prayers.